Richie Righteous, what's up, baby? It's your boy JR. You know what it is, man. Haven't seen you in a while. Glad you're hosting the show. Can't wait for the project RICH, you know what I mean? So I'm checking for that, man.
Hey, yo, we represent God.
Who you represent? 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 Who you represent?
Hey, yo, we represent God. We represent God. Hey, yo, we represent God. Hey, yo, we represent God. We represent God. Hey, yo, we represent God.
You gotta keep a close eye on the people that you move with. Everybody nowadays be marching in the movement. Some ain't gon' like what I'm saying in my song, cause they be marching for the right to do what is the wrong. Abortion is a sin, homosex is a sin. If you're born that way, then you could be born again. Sometimes I really wonder if this world is listening, cause we are not the same. I am a Christian, I read the Bible, Christ is what I'm into. It should show if he has a relationship with you. Take up your cross, deny yourself and follow me. If you are a man of God, you cannot watch pornography. You can't fornicate, so throw away the condoms. I don't care how much honey say she wants them. Even when they not looking, rep him to the core, rep him in the public eyes and behind closed doors. Who you represent? 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 Who you represent?
Hey, yo, we represent God. We represent God. Hey, yo, we represent God. Hey, yo, we represent God. We represent God. Hey, yo, we represent God.
Now don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to start a riot, but I do believe the church has been too quiet while the world is busy marching, legalizing everything. But what they really want to legalize is sin. Same-sex marriages, let me just testify. When you legalize that, then here comes the pedophile and the polygamist and the one who weed smoke. Next you know, you gon' have to legalize real coke. Induced birth abortion, you are anti-life. This is a lawless society who's anti-Christ. God hates racism and he hates to see injustice. The question that I'm asking is, where are the churches? They keep telling me, learn to tolerate, but when I say what I believe, then they tell me that it's hate. But I love all sinners and I don't discriminate, but when it comes to sin, I refuse to participate. Who you represent? 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 Who you represent?
Hey, yo, we represent God. We represent God. Hey, yo, we represent God. Hey, yo, we represent God. We represent God. Hey, yo, we represent God.
Now come into my classroom, grab a chair, please sit. A lot of things we think is cool, God ain't really pleased with. You think you get away with it, cause it's done in secret, but you fool yourself because he always sees it. I've been bought with a price, and yes, I am loving it. God so loved the world that his only son hung for it on the cross. Now I am under his government. The rainbow's not a sign of gay pride, but of a covenant. This is not a hate speech, this is just a warning. What you call a lifestyle, God already calls it. This world is impatient, they constantly racing. I switched up my style to bring it to your generation who needs salvation. You are so unaware, there's a God up above and he really do cares. But you built up a great wall around you like China. You're a perfect design, so tell me who's your designer?
Who you represent?
Who you represent? Who you represent? Who you represent? Who you represent? Who you represent? Who you represent? Who you represent?
Hey, yo, we represent God. We represent God. Hey, yo, we represent God. Hey, yo, we represent